The show was called Revolution, and what a main event. With an Iron Man Constitution from Danielson and MJF. As for the rest of the card, it was certainly up and down, but some parts were. Alright, I'm John Renton with my review of AEW Revolution 2023 from the Chase Center where the Golden State Warriors play. And man, there was a lot of barbed wire, and they bled all fucking day. Boy, there was certainly an up and down part to this show, wasn't it? Like, going from the pre-show to some parts where the crowd was really electric. And then we had parts where I just wanted to turn the show off and just say, fuck it, I'm done. But I'm glad I stuck around till the end. So that main event, man, you fucking fake gay, Maxwell Jacob Friedman and Bryan Danielson putting on a goddamn clinic. One of the best matches of the year. I just wish the rest of the show leading up to it was as good. Because I gotta be honest, my fears about a lot of this card were realized. There were moments on the show that I liked. So yeah, there's a lot to get into, so let's just get to it. 0 Hour with Renee. She was channeling her inner mean girl. On Sundays, we wear pink. Who is RJ City? I have heard the name, and I now never want to see him again. Is he supposed to be an annoying idiot that makes me just want to see him be put through a goddamn meat grinder and a stump grinder? Like, preferably on pay-per-view. That could pay off the national debt with how annoying this guy is. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but good God, his attempts at comedy were just really goddamn bad. Orange Cassidy and Danhausen show up. It's WCW 2000 is what I noted. Is Don Callis legally allowed to be anywhere that close to a woman, considering he has to have multiple women sign NDAs because he just can't keep his hands to himself? Don Scarlet Fever Callis. Fuck Don Callis and fuck anybody who likes him. Mark Briscoe and the Lucha Bros make their entrance. And Mark Sterling makes a big intro for his guys. Excuse me. Ari Daivari, Tony Nese, and Josh Woods. It's the Lucha Briscoes against Nese, Woods, and Daivari. Okay, I'm good on Mark. I gotta be perfectly honest, I didn't really care about this match. Apparently, there was a possible another added pre-show match that they were going to do, but I guess it got scrapped. I'm not totally sure. There were rumors it was going to be Claudio and Yuta against Silver and Reynolds, but they didn't do that. So, they just did their usual stuff. Look, Lucha Bros can do all the moves. I met Penta, really nice guy. I was there when Phoenix kicked referee Aubrey, and he nearly had 500 very, very angry people from Seattle. And the environs just want to rush the goddamn ring because you don't hurt our Aubrey. He's a great representation of talent in Washington State. But I digress. They can do all the moves. They have no psychology. None. None at all. There was Froggy Bow, 1, 2, 3. Mark Briscoe getting the victory. Good. Good. And then they lay out Mark Sterling afterwards. As far as the pre-show match, it was fine. They really could have put just another women's match on there. Like, have Jade defend the TBS Championship. A.K.A. Jade, and that's all I got right there. Put Willow Nightingale. Have a tag match. Something. I don't know. Just do something. They have about 3 million wrestlers under contract. You couldn't have put the women on a pre-show match? It would have certainly been better than any of this bullshit with RJ City. God damn it, this guy's irritating. Anyway, he talks to 2.0 and Garcia. Speaking of bad comedy, Garcia's done. He's toast. Tony Storm. She feels marginalized and then sprays RJ City's back. Okay. Renee with Britt about the three-way. RJ City then makes dick jokes around Hobbs. Oh, it's really big, the ring. This promo felt like a hate crime towards Hobbs because they made him look goofy. So, they booed Sanjay. And remember when Sanjay wrestled? Because Sanjay actually can be an effective manager. And I know he can't wrestle anymore because of an injury and he hung his boots up. He can be an effective manager and they make him a goof. Shivani talks about the casket and the match between Christian Cage and Jungle Boy OEOEO being the final barrier. Damn it, Shivani, you had one. I like Shivani. That's just the final barrier. Best stipulation. So, the all-access plug with Atom Core, baby. JR shows up, and the first thing that... Wait. This is the last thing actually you hear as the show goes off. Revolution is coming right at you. RJ, oh Lord. And you know, that actually was the best thing RJ said because it kind of encompassed about half the goddamn card and the results and some things. The crowd was up already. JR saying, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And he said that with all the enthusiasm of a guy that was literally drug out of bed and put on commentary. JR doesn't give a fuck anymore. He loves wrestling. He does not love what this company is doing. He loves some things, but I know he has health issues. I know he's old. He's been doing this for a long goddamn time. He was driving Leroy McGurk around. And if you look at how old he was when Leroy was in school, they didn't have history. He was also a blind racist. So fuck Leroy McGurk. And fuck anybody that thought he was a good, influence on wrestling. Anyway, so they pitched the Draft King spot like how WCW used to pitch to Mean Gene. Okay, Starks versus Chris Irvine, Insurrection, Wife Supporter Jericho. JAS barred from ringside. Okay, Ricky Starks had taped ribs. And look, this would have made sense if Ricky Starks had lost to Jericho in Seattle. And then they had built that up where Starks wanted to finally get his win. The problem is, Starks won in Seattle with all the tricks in the book, and then got laid out through a table by Hager, who not only likes his hat, but likes to fuck things up because Jake Hager is really, really bad at his job. He's not bad at collecting the paycheck. And then, this feud, if this match had been 7 minutes, it would have been fine. Unfortunately, this match went at least 13 to 15. Jericho can't go anymore. He looks like a beanbag chair left out in the goddamn rain. He can't work. He can't do anything. Yeah, he hit a couple moves. Congratulations. You can still kind of do shit, you bloated old bastard. Starks eventually fires back. Sammy comes down despite the fact that Jericho appreciators are banned from ringside. So I guess if he had made it to ringside and not the pseudo entranceway, Jericho would have been DQ'd. Well, Action Andretti comes from literally another dimension, and they fight off. And then we get a part where Ricky has a frickin' Boston grab on him. And this is while referee Aubrey's distracted. Jericho's holding the bat for seemingly forever. He might as well have just made it part of his anatomy with how long he was holding it. But that ends up getting used, but then Ricky stops the juice effect and somehow hits the Rochambeau 1, 2, 3. Okay, can we please move on from this? I don't care what you do with Ricky. Okay, I do care what you do with Ricky. Just don't have him involved with Jericho anymore. Don't. This whole Jericho Appreciation Society thing is dumb. Jericho can't go anymore. Numerous people that are under contract to AEW feel so stagnant. I understand they only have 3 hours of TV programming and however many episodes of Dark and Dark Elevation they do. Whenever they have a pay-per-view week, I swear to God, they do like 3 episodes of Dark, but nevertheless. Okay, Starks gets the victory in a match that went twice as long as it needed to. Speaking of something that went twice as long as it needed to, Jungle Boy, OE, and a final burial match with Christian Cage. Jungle Boy, OE. Tarzan Boy gets a poppin'. You got to put him in the casket, and then you put him in the dirt. You put him in the casket, then it lowers down, and there you go. Pardon me, or those Jungle Boy jeans is what I wrote down. He's wearing jeans, and look, if this had been 10 minutes, it would have been fine. This went, 20? This feud already was stagnant by the time Christian Cage got injured. And then they decided to extend it. They had Luchasaurus, who apparently, I guess, is getting sued over his mask. And maybe he's not getting sued, maybe the company is, and maybe they need to figure out something else to do with him. Or he's injured, or the whole lawsuit thing's bullshit. I don't know. But they did some good stuff. They fought into the crowd. They went over to the little dirt area where the dirt was getting shoved in everybody's face. Pocket dirt. I hate dirt. It's rough, it's coarse, and it gets dirty everywhere. That's the whole point of dirt. Kill switch on the dirt. Before that, we got a dive. We got a shovel being involved, a shovel snare trap, and then a concerto on the stage. And Cage took it well, and Jungle Boy delivered it well, and it was well shot. If only the concerto had been done so many goddamn times by multiple companies. And then he puts Christian Cage in the casket, and then literally the thing drops. I hope there was padding down there, because I don't care if there's padding inside the casket. That's still a hard object hitting there. It's like, okay, Christian just drops into a pit somewhere under the stage. They Muhammad Hassan'd him. Hopefully not. Okay, Jungle Boy won. He showed more fire than he has lately. And I'm glad that he was showing a little more anger and fearsomeness and everything. But again, this went on a little bit too long. Had they cut Had 4 of the matches had 5 to 7 minutes cut off of them, this pay-per-view would have ended way sooner. I don't think the crowd would have been nearly as exhausted as they were by the time we got to the TNT Championship match. That being said, Jungle Boy, OE won. And then apparently Julia was in some kind of Repo the Genetic Opera mask. I don't know what. If anybody remembers Repo the Genetic Opera, I will be amazed. So, House of Black makes her entrance and everything. It's all cool, spoopy, and all that. She's got giant bugles on her fingers. She's pulling off this dark look. Well, and then the Elite have ruined Wayward Son. How dare you? How dare you, Omega and the Bucks? Oh, boy. And it's the Scarlet Fever enthusiast known as Don Callis on commentary. Anytime Don Callis is on commentary, it's embarrassing for professional wrestling. Cutler's embarrassing. Nakazawa's embarrassing. As far as on-screen characters, they could be backstage doing their own shit. House of Black. Buddy, Brody, and Malachi against the Elite, the Bucks, and Omega. Trios Championship match with referee Rick Knox. So why bother having tags? Why bother enforcing the rules? Rick Knox doesn't know what the rules are. He was around when Adam and Eve were created, but he still doesn't know how the rules work. Okay, there are people that like this. And if you like this, that's fine. You know what I didn't? I didn't like this. Don't get me wrong. This was not the most egregious thing that was on the goddamn show, but it was the same as it ever was. Yeah, the Bucks decided to have Brody throw him around because what else are you going to do? And I like Brody King, don't get me wrong, but what else are you going to do except feed the monster and let him throw you around? The Bucks can't wrestle. They can't. They can do their flippy shit. I have praised some Bucks matches in the past. This ain't one of them. 18 minutes of pay-per-view programming for something, quite frankly, that was just repetition. Then Julia got B-triggered in a spot that if it was any more set up or whatever, the cops or somebody would have been looking around saying, "You're a cop, aren't you?" The House of Black won. The crowd popped. The people there loved it. There are people on my timeline that loved it, and that's great. I didn't. I thought it was stupid. I'm glad the House of Black won. Maybe we can have the Trios Championships mean something, but they already have so many titles, so many wrestlers that don't get on TV. I don't really... And then they did the light cue way too, early, where people were getting out of the ring, and I don't know what the hell they were doing. It was a bit odd, but it is what it is. JR left then, by this point. I don't know why they didn't bring JR back out for the main event, because I think JR calling the Iron Man match might have actually been better. Maybe he couldn't be up that late. I don't know. Shivani steps in. So House of Black, new AEW Trios champions. Jamie gets a sizable pop. I love Jamie Hayter. Hayter hits hard. Wish she would... Never mind. Jamie Hayter with Britt DMD. She's a dentist. Taking on Ruby Soho with and Saraya, Defender of Abusiverse with Toni Storm. Toni Storm, who probably could mean something to this company but won't anymore. 3-way match for the AEW Women's Championship. When Jamie and Ruby were wrestling, there was nothing wrong with it. Saraya was trying to give Jamie Hayter brain damage, seemingly, because, well, Saraya already has tons of brain damage. Just look at her slinky neck, and just look at the fact that she keeps defending abusers and dating the wrong guys, and hate to say it, Saraya, you kind of deserve the bad shit that's going to come your way eventually. If you play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes. People can defend her, but eventually you got to make better choices. Jamie took 2 areas, one into the steps, one into the concrete, because they just did this 3-way match, and we can't possibly enforce rules here. Yes, okay, they're supposed to be where people can just run in and do this stuff, or people can go outside and there's no count out and everything. I mean, that's fine. But then they just had run-ins and they just had bullshit, and that's the thing. You already are having run-ins, bullshit and shenanigans. You had in the first match, and now you have it here. Hayter hits hard. Yes, she does. Saraya is fucking rotten. Ruby had a good look here and was trying to work and make this work the best she could. There was a Rana plant that, the snap Rana thing that Ruby does where she plants a person's head into, face first. That's a pretty cool spot. And then Britt ends up hitting Saraya. I'll call her by her name when she actually stops being a shit person. Ruby almost wins it, but then Jamie rolls her up 1, 2, 3. So Ruby Soho was only put there to take the pin. Pretends to be shocked. And then we get a melee. Everybody's involved, and suddenly Ruby's like, oh, I'm going to pitch Saraya and Tony Storm out, and I'm on the side of Britt and Jimmy, and no, she lays them both out, and she's with them, and they're trying to create their own three-person thing, their own toxic attraction, their own thing from Stardom. Is there a trio from Stardom? I don't know. They're trying to create a trio where they're spray painting. They're trying to be like the women's version of NWO. Ruby is toast, by the way. Ruby, toasto. So, I'm sorry. It just, Tony doesn't mean anything. Saraya doesn't. And the spray painting thing is stupid. This is really bad. The match wasn't all that bad, but this is pretty bad. And unfortunately, this is where the show started to hit a lull. Now, Hangman has a new theme. Hey, we got a new theme for Hangman Adam Page. We got a new theme for Man Does Cowboy Shit. Bonanza, by the way, just in case you didn't get that. Wild Thing, you make the Chase Center sing. Okay, so here we go. Jon Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page, Texas Deathmatch. Okay, so let's see. How do you win this? You win this by either knocking your opponent down, they can't answer the 10 count, or by knockout. Like, I guess they could tap out also. Basically, if a person wants to give up, they can give up. And that Texas Death Matches have just gone through so many rule changes and so much bastardization. AEW has done way too many of them. Even though they haven't done a ton, they've done way too many. In street fights and all that stuff in multiple companies. WWE doesn't do much. New Japan will go a little bit too crazy with stipulations, though they're a little bit dialed back. Doing stipulations for the sake of it just gets to the point where, okay, now you're just being lazy. I want to also say, before I get into any more critiquing about this match, or any more analysis of this match, that is, even though I tipped my hand, I don't care about the blood. The blood doesn't bother me. You want to be stupid and you want to bleed buckets and everything and do all that stuff for the sake of that, fine. Moxley bleeds every goddamn match. Moxley's going to bleed every time somebody mentions Moxley bleeds. If you mention Moxley bleeds in the goddamn mirror and you say it even once, he'll start bleeding. And then I imagine that his kid probably doesn't recognize him unless he's got a face full of goddamn blood. Okay. 3 minutes in, Moxley was bleeding. It might have not even been 3 minutes. Again, I don't care about the blood. I really don't. But Moxley has just gotten to the point where it's egregious and it's stupid and it's boring. And it's like, now it's a running gag. This was one of the worst matches AEW has put on in its short time around. I mean, almost 4 years. We're coming up on 4 years since first Double or Nothing. There are people that like this, and that's fine. Again, I didn't have a problem with the blood. But let's break out the barbed wire. Let's break out the barbed wire boards. Let's break out a chain. Let's break out bricks. Let's break out the chairs with barbed wire on them. Let's break out barbed wire, barbed wire, barbed wire. Let's break out copies of barbed wire. You hit somebody with a copy of barbed wire, it'd actually be more damaging because I rewatched that movie. It's dog shit. This movie's, it felt like a movie. It felt like it lasted that long. That movie is dog shit. This match is dog shit. And I'm going to say right now that I nearly turned the pay-per-view off. I nearly said, you know what? I'm going to go watch something else. I'm going to go watch The Last of Us. Or I'm going to watch WWE on A&E Biography or something. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to rewatch this when I'm in a better mood. But I decided to stick with it. Then I decided I'm just going to do other things and everything. And I'm just going to look up and, oh, they're blading. They're beating each other up. And if they had laid the shit in and just used a few weapons and everything, if they had brought the chain out and done a couple things, if they had sparingly used the weapons, that might have worked. Because I praised Hangman's work in the past. I praised Moxley's work in the past. Again, one of the most egregiously offensive matches that I've seen because it wouldn't end. This was about 25 minutes and felt like 50. This felt longer than the Iron Man match. This wouldn't goddamn end. If Khan had any sense, if he had any ability to control his company, he would have put a stop to this. We get, we get more, we get fistings with the barbed wire and everything. And a barbed wire bomb chair spot, a Death Rider, stomp on the bricks. They started singing Seth Rollins' theme. Because fans do watch both, believe it or not. And a lot more fucking fans watch the company that's been around for a while, and I hate them I hate them when they do bad shit just as much as I hate AEW when they do bad shit. And this was bad shit. We got more chain stuff. We got chain action and chains and barbed wire and a barbed wire moonsault. I know that the Hangman's an idiot because he's damaging himself there. Mox is an even bigger idiot because he does have talent and he chooses to do this bullshit. And then basically the finish ends with Moxley getting hung by the chain over the ropes, but his feet can clearly touch the ground. But oh no, he's choking and he taps out, and that's it. You know, again, when AEW does some really good stuff, I will praise it. And I have enjoyed some of their television. I've enjoyed some of their pay-per-views, and I will gladly plunk down the $50. That's what I did for this show. Mainly to watch the Iron Man match, and I'm glad I paid for it, but I will watch and defend this company when they do good stuff. I can't defend stuff like this anymore, and I can't necessarily say that, oh, this is fine, it's just what these guys do. There's nothing wrong with going into a violent match or doing blood or doing whatever, but when you just get to where you're hitting each other with weapons and the fans are cheering for the weapon spots, or singing the theme of people that aren't in the goddamn company, maybe you're kind of fucking up there. So maybe we need to have these guys off TV for a bit, send Mox and Renee on vacation for a while, bring them back in a month, send Hangman away, he's got a kid at home, and just focus on some other people. They need a rest, and I need a rest from watching these two goddamn morons on my television. Samoa Joe took on Wardlow in a TNT Championship match. Jumpstart, and I swear to God, they basically instructed them before they went out, make this quick. They made it 10 minutes. Wardlow did that whisper in the wind to a pop, hit a huge senton. Joe was firing up, doing some good stuff. He got the coquina clutch, and then Joe got hit with one powerbomb, but he hit a clothesline. He was going to go for his own powerbomb symphony, mocking a thing like this. And then suddenly, a rear naked choke by Wardlow, and Joe passes out, and Wardlow wins. Okay. Hobbs is going to take on Wardlow. That's going to be an interesting match. I guess Samoa Joe now is going to go more to the Ring of Honor brand, which makes sense since they're doing the weekly television. It's on Honor Club. But there we go. Now let's get to something else that I didn't like. The 4-way tag team title match. Yo, Jeff, you forgot your Cialis was a funny line from Caster. It really seemed to anger Jeff right there. Then again, it happens to every guy around that age. I mean, Jeff is in the mid-50s. He claimed Bowens and Caster along with Billy Daddy Ass Gunn. Against the Guns, Austin and Colton against Team TNA, Jeff and Lethal, with Dutt and Giant Silva Jr. against the Joke Team, a.k.a. Orange Cassidy and Danhausen, for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Danhausen and Orange Cassidy were there to be the team to take the fall. Now that's fine, but the tag division's a goddamn mess. I'm sorry, this was shit. The tag division has fallen into a hole that it can't get out of. And basically, Aubrey, after allowing a bunch of after they made Aubrey allow a bunch of stuff like Giant Silva Jr. getting involved, and he couldn't even do the Famouser spot right. Good job. Good fucking job there, you goddamn bumbling fool. I'm not saying I could get in and do any of this stuff. I'm not athletic at all, but there are people that are in wrestling that shouldn't be. And there are people on the indies that are working twice as hard, beating their bodies up, that could honestly be so much better in positions like that. I mean, yes, he's 7'7". You can't teach that, and you can also, I had to put that line in there, but you also can admit that guy isn't good. 310 to Yuma ends up pinning Danhausen, by the way. Before that, Aubrey stopped the guitar use, and then the awards, the Golden Globe or Grammy Award, or no, not Grammy, whatever the hell TV award it was, that Wings Hauser won. That just got a 2 count, but then 310 to Yuma on Danhausen 1, 2, 3. Renee was talking to the Guns. They mentioned FTR, and suddenly FTR's music hits, and oh, lo and behold, the only really good tag team that they've had in quite a while finally shows up. Now, they've been off since Wrestle Kingdom, and they were taking time off, and I understand that. I hope this means that they at least have enough of an extension with AEW to hopefully right some of the wrongs that the company has done with them, because let's be honest, they should have beaten the Bucks, they should have held the tag team championships, and they should have held all the belts, and it would have actually meant something. Bucks threw a fit and didn't want to do that. They hit a big rig on one of the guns. I didn't catch which one, but FTR, huge pop. Good. Speaking of good, perhaps even great, it was great. Danielson gets a big pop. MJF comes out with an orchestra and the devil mask and all that. MJF's been living in the goddamn gym because good lord, that man is cut. And Danielson versus MJF 60-minute Iron Man match for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. I'm not going to get into a long dissertation about all the moves in this goddamn match. It starts slow. MJF goes into the crowd, throws water on a kid. Apparently that kid was not a plant. Probably shouldn't have done that. I mean, I laughed at the time. I still laugh now because I don't have kids and I laugh because I'm mean. But also the other side of me is you shouldn't have done that if that wasn't a plant. Depending on the report. If that kid wasn't a plant and the mother was really upset, you kind of fucked up there. Always being a heel. Yeah. You could throw it on an adult. I mean, whatever. That would have been funny. But if the kid was actually a plant and they're just playing up the story, then, well, there you go. But you know what? Give the kid some merch, have him meet some wrestlers and everything. Maybe have MJF apologize to the goddamn kid. And there you go. Of course, he did say, is this going to cost me a star, Dave? Yes. To be honest, the Meltzer scale is bullshit. And they took their time. MJF started focusing on Danielson's shoulder, zeroing in on the arm that had been focused on by the various people he put in his way. And we were 15 minutes in, no falls. And then we got a sunset flip bomb, bang! It just was a loud bang. Stomps on the arm, the stomp off the ropes. And there was some good stuff. MJF just healing up like crazy. He hit a powerbomb to Danielson on his knee. And he was selling it. I think it was the right knee, not the left knee. It wasn't his weenie. But he hit, I believe, on his right knee. He was selling at a pump handle, just drop. That was brutal for 2. And we were about 25 minutes into the match. And Danielson hit the Bukkake knee and got the victory. And then, actually, MJF hit a low blow in front of the referee. So the referee called that, but then, so it was 2-0 Danielson, but then Danielson got rolled up, or got pinned, 1, 2, 3, and then MJF got another pin on him. So it's tied. So there you go. Now it's 2-2, and we got 32 minutes left. MJF's on his knee. They go around the outside, do. The figure, excuse me, the figure 4 spot where he's like, I hate you, slap. And they're doing good stuff here. Danielson was getting fired up. There were some really crisp spots and some scary spots here. Sky elbow through the table that didn't cause a DQ somehow. I can overlook that in this case, and Danielson was bleeding, which would be great, except we just saw oodles of blood. Again, wasn't bothered by the blood. We just saw Mox and Hangman basically bleed enough to fill a few bags for a goddamn hospital ward. And then 20 minutes left. Danielson's bleeding. And Heat Seeker 1, 2, 3. It's 3-2 MJF. And he zeroes in on that. Just zeroes in on the cut. Just ripping it. Say hi to the kids. Saying all that. Saying the kids' names. And then we got a spider suplex release thing. It was really kind of brutal. MJF was bleeding at some point on the outside, I believe. Yes, I'm trying to remember. Was it the barricade spot? I'm trying to remember what. But it wasn't that I was tuning out of some of this matches. Just so much stuff was happening. But MJF was bleeding quite a bit. In fact, I think he bled way too deep. He was trying to keep all the blood in his head, and he was not successful. But another Bukkake knee. And I know what it is, Busaiku knee, but you know what? It's funny. Especially since the splatter is right in your face. Regal stretch and a tap, and we get 3-3. We got 10:30 left. And then they start trading back and forth with all these, big moves, and the crowd's popping. We got more water breaks, because we got some water breaks throughout that. The crowd was chanting H2O. They were firing up a Heat Seeker for 2. Danielson was kicking out. MJF was kicking out stuff. They were getting this up. We got a roll through. We got a single leg crab. And frigate, after they traded Salt to the Earth, the bell lock and stuff like that. 40 seconds left. Salt to the Earth. was should have been like, the finish, but no, they couldn't have that. They had to have MJF in danger. He got the frickin', he, too many pronouns, pal, got the single crab on. There's actually more like a minute left. And MJF bites his hand. He's trying so hard not to tap out. And then the bell rings. And then MJF taps. Just long enough. The crowd boos because it's a tie. Crowd ain't bullshit. Giovanni says to Khan, okay. Tells Justin Roberts, tells the referee. Tony Khan doesn't want it to end like this, so it's going to be sudden death. They pulled a WrestleMania 12. And then the referee got shoved, a low blow, and then a roll-up for 2. MJF's trying every dirty trick in the book. And the Bukkake knee again, 1, 2, and what I probably should back up and say, though, just before, is during the rest period, before they decided to restart the match, they had the oxygen out. And they had the oxygen on MJF. And Danielson was pissed, but, he was obviously breathing hard because 60 minutes. But MJF had that, and they were selling that, and they were doing all that. So then the people get out of the ring, and then they do all this stuff. And the crab spot, the single crab again, MJF's almost getting it, and he's just trying so hard to do it. And then he gets the ring out. And the referee pulls the ring off. It's like, no, you're not going to use this. And then he gets to the ropes and then taps with the other hand. Danielson thinks he won. And then outside, there's the oxygen tank. And the referee is trying to get Danielson back in the ring, but he's far enough away. MJF clocks Danielson with it when he's trying to crawl through under the bottom rope, hits him with the tank, and pins him. Pins him 1, 2. Oh, no. He could have pinned him, and that would have been too easy. He gets a bell lock on. Danielson's about to pass out. Hand up, fires up. Taps out. And MJF gets the victory. By nefarious means, he got the victory. And that's how you end. You end with a heel champion. And there you go. Danielson doesn't look weak because he gave him everything. And MJF had to cheat and do everything in the book to win. Overall, I'd say it's a pretty damn good ending. Some parts of the pay-per-view were shit, but that was a pretty damn good ending. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.